Hi guys. So I was just kind of thinking about some things I wanted to talk about, and one of the things I have wanted to talk about kind of from day one is about active addiction and also versus like each time I progressively relapse, the differences between the two or the three, and um, and I have kind of a funny story to tell you about hallucination as well. So we'll get to that in just a second. But speaking of hallucination, I do want to kind of start off by saying that kind of a fun fact, not fun fact, but interesting fact, something that I learned during recovery. I took a lot of classes of my own volition just to learn more about it. And um, believe it or not, more than half of the world's population, I think it's something weird, ridiculous, like 70% or something like that, is prone to schizophrenic tendencies that never show up, that then nobody ever sees. And the reason that a lot of people hallucinate when they're high on meth is because it triggers those like the dopamine floodgate in your brain that creates a trigger that actually awakens schizophrenic tendencies that would have never shown up before. Most of those people go through their whole lives and it never shows up. Nobody ever even knows that they're prone. And then they go do a meth and all of a sudden they're seeing all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that I know that have seen some crazy stuff. I actually have two stories because I can tell you about one of them that was really hilarious now, but again, then it wasn't. It was pretty freaky, um, but the bottom line is that I'm actually one of those lucky people that I've almost never hallucinated, which is why I felt like I was so powerful, I think, in active addiction, is because I knew what was going on. Now, there was one time, and that was actually in my most recent relapse, one time that I've hallucinated. And um, basically, me and Captain Douchebag Brian we were in my car and we were driving down the road, and I just kind of pulled the car over and I stopped and I was sitting there and he looks at me and he says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm waiting for the marching band to pass." And he was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And I was like, "Look, now I know for a complete and total fact that there's probably not a marching band going down the street, but I can see drummers and I can see band members and I can see people twirling batons. And I'll tell you one thing that I know for sure is that my ego is really, really big when I'm high. And I'm not going to take a chance that my ego telling me that there is absolutely no way any of that could be real gets me to plow through even one real person. So we're going to sit right here and we're going to wait for the marching band to pass because I'm not taking any chances that I accidentally kill somebody while I'm seeing this." He just looks at me completely like flabbergasted, and then he shrugs and he says, "Fair enough." So I guess I'm going to have some completely annoying issues with the camera today. Now, just so you guys know, we have ordered it. We need a separate power router source. That's what the problem is that it's the one thing that I have that everything is plugged into is overloading the computer, and we're ended up with the most powerful item, which is the camera, freezing up here and there, and then I have to like reboot it all to get it to work for the next round. So that's what's going on. So anyways, so his response was, "Fair enough." And we sat there for a good 5 to 10 minutes waiting for the marching band to pass. And I calmly pulled off the side of the road and went about my business. Now, again, I knew very, very clearly in my head, I knew that I was full of myself. I literally thought of myself as completely powerful, and I felt so powerful. I knew I was powerful. And I also knew that I had maybe too big of an ego, and I wasn't going to take any chances. I never want to take any chances as to accidentally killing someone, which is why, I've never driven drunk. I never, when I'm high, I don't drive when I've been up for a few days, or when I was high. I'm not high anymore, just because the tired factor, and I fell asleep at the wheel once. Um, Also, during the most recent relapse, I fell asleep. I was going downtown to pick up that douchebag that liked the feet at the plaza, and there was a turn off of Owens onto Main, and the light. I was sitting there at the turn arrow, the light changed to green and I went, and all of a sudden I just fell asleep. And I woke back up a second later because as I was making that turn, I bumped the curb. And I didn't go over it, I just bumped it enough to stop the car because I was still going pretty slow. Some asswad runs and jumps in the car. Like, apparently he was hitchhiking and he thought I was pulling over to pick him up. I don't know, because I happened to be asleep at the time. After this, I did not drive sleepy ever again. But he drives in the car, and I was right there in front of the plaza, so I drive down a half a block to the entrance for the parking garage, and I drive in, and I said, okay, well, bye. Like, he was so surprised I pulled in right there. He's like, I thought you were giving me a ride. I said, if I was giving you a ride, it's where I was going, and this is where I'm going, so get out. Anyways, that was the weirdest thing. I think one of the weirdest things that ever happened to me, because I had no idea what was going on. All of a sudden, he just jumps in the car, and yeah. So, anyways, a lot of weird stuff. Go through a lot of weird stuff, and then it pops up, and you remember it as you talk. So, anyways, you know, back in the day, my addiction was a lot more consuming, I guess, than it was the last two times. That's why they were able to be short periods of time. I was able to get off it without help. Pretty sure that meth is not made out of the same stuff that it was made back when I was making it, because I've heard of people making it in a hole in the ground and in their freezer, and I promise you that's not how the old-fashioned methamphetamines were made. Well, I put my life on the line many times, and I had an entire chemical lab and very, very explosive possibilities at my fingertips. And in fact, the guy that was teaching me how to cook, we were down in a basement once. Sorry, my contact hurts. Sorry. We were down in a basement once, and we were cooking at someone's house that let us use their house, and he didn't have his regular hot plate. It only had an off and on, didn't have a low setting on the burner. And when he put the fuel into the mixture at the end, it flashed. It splashed onto the hot plate, which was on high, and it flashed and set him on fire. The chemicals that were in the air from him standing next to the rig the whole time had covered his skin, and thank God he'd taken his shirt off, because his shirt melted in the process. So I'm sure it would have melted and probably damaged him pretty deeply. But it lit him on fire. It took off the hair on the side of his head, his eyebrows, eyelashes. There was like some facial stubble, all completely gone, body hair, everything, and his skin was just racked in blisters. And this guy was crazy. He was no one to be trifled with. And he spent the next 2 weeks, while I babysat him, sitting for probably 20 hours a day in tepid water, which I had to help him drain out and clean and then refill again, with a green scrubby pad, just sitting there soaking for a while and then scrubbing the blisters off himself while he screamed. It was a terrible, terrible experience. And at the end of the day, he actually, I mean, you could only see the scarring when he was like really high or amped up. It would turn red, and that even may have healed over time. It hadn't been that long. But I can't believe he had no raised scars from this, because I promise you at least a quarter of his body was in blisters, like crusty, crunchy blisters. It was terrible, 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 and he was scared to go to the hospital. So I had to take care of him, and that's why we don't cook meth, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, I think that back in the day, you know, the hold was on me was, you know, greater because of that reason. It just and I guess I'm really probably very grateful for that. I'm sure people that go into addiction with today's drugs are perfectly happy with them, because that's all they have to compare it to. And I'm actually eternally grateful that it did not grab hold of me like it did before, because had it been the same kind of nasty, dirty stuff we used to have, I promise you that I probably wouldn't have come back anywhere near as easily, if ever. And I'm just really grateful for that. I'm grateful for the dumbing down of America in one or two ways. I'm grateful for the laziness of America in one or two ways. The rest of it, you know, pisses me off, but, you know, we can't all have everything. So I'm going to leave you with one more story, which is back from my dealing days, back from the original dealing days. because it's just kind of funny and entertaining. And again, it wasn't funny at the time. It was actually quite astounding. Um, but this lady Gloria, that I used to bring her about an 8 ball a week. And I went over to her house. She had called. At least we went a long time without a glitch. So, and I'm almost done. So, I don't know what this computer's damage is, but it irritates me. Okay. Anyways, so she had called me to come bring her over an 8 ball. And I showed up at her house. I'm sorry about the dog yipping in the background. I don't know what my son is doing, but I'm going to go out there and probably slap him upside the head when I come out of here because he is really irritating me. Just kidding. I don't hit my kids. Anyways, I showed up at her house and her front door was open a crack. And I knocked on it. I called her name. She didn't answer. And I'm yelling, Gloria, Gloria. So I push into her house. I shut the door all the way behind me. Hoping to God she didn't get like robbed or accosted in some way. She was an old tweaker, but she was a nice lady, and I didn't want to see her harmed. And I go through the house yelling her name, and finally I noticed the back door, the sliding glass door is open. So I go back there into her yard, and there she is. She's out there with one of those little hand trowels, those tiny little shovels, and she is digging holes in her backyard, maybe about 12 inches deep. Maybe 12-inch circumference, about that big around and about the same depth. And there is maybe, and I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, 40 or 50 of them already dug out there. Her yard looks like a landmine erupted out there. And I'm like, Gloria, what are you doing? What are you doing? And she's like, I'm looking for my favorite teeth. And I'm like, okay, back it up. Why are you looking for your favorite teeth out in the yard? And she says, well, here's the thing. I can't afford a dentist, so I found several sets of teeth over time at the swap meet, and once I stole one from this lady that didn't need them anymore. And she's going on and on about how she acquired these different sets of teeth, and her purse has different sections in there, one for each set of teeth. And she said she fits them to her mouth by she puts like different things like modeling clay and hot glue in one instance, and she molds them to her mouth, and then she uses her Dremel and sandpaper and things of that nature to sand them down to fit to her mouth. And her favorite set has disappeared, or at least she thinks it has disappeared. The ones that fit her the best. And I said, and why would they be in your backyard? And she says, my fucking cat stole them. And I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me right now? And she's like, no, I seen him conspiring against me all the time. He's always staring at me, and I know he's just got it in for me. I wanted to get rid of that cat from day one, but my damn old boyfriend won't let me throw him out. He stole them. They're gone. I know it. And I was like, oh my God, Gloria, he did not steal your teeth. He is a cat. And if he did steal them, he probably would not have buried them in the backyard because he doesn't even have access to your backyard. She said, he told me he buried them in the backyard, and good luck finding them. Now, I don't know if she ever lost or found her teeth again. I gave her drugs, I got my money, and I got the hell out of there. But I do know for sure that Gloria was definitely a victim of the schizophrenic tendencies because she hadn't even been up that long. And I know like lack of sleep can cause some hallucinations, mild hallucinations and whatnot, but I'm talking about she saw her cat talking to her like a conspiracy theorist. And these are the things that I am grateful for, that I'd never had to experience. Even if it was secondhand, it's like I said, it's funny now, but at the time I was like, oh my God, does she need help? Does she need a doctor? I don't even know. So hopefully I've been entertaining today. And if you guys have any comments, about like if you guys have experienced any hallucinations or whatnot, anything funny or maybe that was traumatizing or scary. Again, these things are stuff that a lot of people don't talk about. They stuff it because it's embarrassing, it's humiliating, but sometimes it also affects your mind in ways where you're not sure if it was real or not, or you don't know what exactly happened, or if you can ever, kind of get it out of your head. And sometimes it's best to talk about it. So if you guys want to, if you have anything you want to talk about, it's annoying that I got one more glitch right at the end, But if you have anything that you wanted to talk about, maybe just on a personal level, you don't want anyone to see it, but you have something that's still bothering you, something that that happened to you during active addiction that you'd like to maybe talk out, that um, you haven't had the courage to talk to anyone about. I'm all open. Please hit me up. Instagram, Facebook. You can do it however you want. You are more than welcome to private message me. I'm 100% open book. And again, sometimes talking about this stuff will help to delve it out of your brain and your soul. Okay, so I am here. Please don't feel like you're imposing on me. Don't feel like you're bothering me. I will always answer you. I will always get back with you. And I will always give you an honest answer if you have things that you want to talk about or you want to even ask me about in private, you think that maybe I wouldn't want to say in public. I have figured out that the only way I'm going to completely heal from all the bullshit in my past is to be honest and open about it and get it out there, which is why I've told you guys some things that I don't want to talk about. I didn't want to talk about. I didn't want to tell you about. I didn't want to tell anyone about, because I need to have an honest life, and I'm doing my best to do that. And I would like to share that journey with you guys. Okay, so just please don't hesitate. Don't feel like you're bothering me, because you're not. Okay. All right, don't forget to like and subscribe, share with your friends. If you have people in active addiction that need help, they just want to hear a story that maybe could use a little bit of hope, please just send them over, have them subscribe, like my channel. We're trying to get out there. And again, I'm trying to get my book out too. I'm writing as we speak, so hopefully I'll have that done. Now, next week I'm going to be a little spotty. I'm going to try to get a few videos in there, but the kids are going to be home all week. The week after, we are going on vacation to Oregon. We're going to be doing some road tripping, some ATVs on the beach, and I'm going to give you guys some kind of really rudimentary videos. We're going to take videos on the ATVs. I'll post them to my TikTok as well. You guys are welcome to join me on my TikTok. I've decided to start doing like maybe some funny stories on TikTok, jokes, stuff like that. People, ways to bring in people so they can come into my channel, but not necessarily talking about my channel the whole freaking time, because you got 6 videos up there that are all kind of the same, and people are like, eh. So I'm trying to do funny with that. So you guys are welcome to come follow me on TikTok as well. It's been really great. And again, you guys will get some probably really poor quality videos, but I will post them anyways, because I want to share my vacation with you guys and share my family with you guys. Okay. All right, guys, I will talk to you soon. Again, it'll be a few days, but I'm going to try to get a few videos up this week. And then we'll go from there. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Love you all.